The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene offers insight into the dynamics of power and how it can be gained, maintained, and utilized to maneuver through different situations life may throw at you. For the next couple of weeks, enjoy these dynamic illustrations and short stories that will spark your metamorphic fix. So let's begin.
Law number 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest. In a small village in ancient China, there was a wise old man named Li who had mastered the 13th law of power. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest. Li had lived in the village for many years and was known for his wisdom and knowledge. One day, the village was hit by a severe drought, and the crops began to wither and die. The villagers were worried, and they turned to Li for help. Li knew that he needed to act fast if he wanted to save the crops. He decided to use the 13th law of power and appeal to people's self-interest to get the help he needed. Li went to each of the villagers and asked for their help. He told them that if they helped him, they would benefit in the long run. He explained that if they worked together to save the crops, they would have enough food to last through the winter, and they wouldn't have to worry about starvation. The villagers were hesitant at first, but Li was persuasive. He told them that if they didn't work together, they would all suffer the consequences. He appealed to their self-interest, reminding them that they all needed to eat and survive. Li also appealed to the villagers' sense of community. He told them that by working together, they would strengthen their bonds and become closer as a community. He reminded them that they were all in this together and that they needed to support each other. Slowly but surely, the villagers began to listen to Li's words. They realized that he was right and that they needed to work together to save the crops. They began to work tirelessly, day and night, to water the fields and tend to the crops. Li supervised the work and made sure that everyone was doing their part. He encouraged them when they were tired and reminded them of the long-term benefits. In the end, the villagers' hard work paid off. The crops began to flourish, and they were able to harvest enough food to last through the winter. The villagers were grateful to Li for his wise words and leadership. They realized that by appealing to their self-interest, Li had motivated them to work together and save their community. Li had demonstrated the power of the 13th law of power, and the villagers had learned an important lesson, that sometimes, appealing to people's self-interest can be a powerful motivator for change. Law number 13 recap. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest. This law advises people to frame their requests for help in a way that benefits the other person, as it can increase the likelihood of receiving assistance. By highlighting how the other person stands to gain from helping, one can create a sense of motivation and reciprocity, making it easier to achieve their goals. This law is a reminder of the power of persuasion and the importance of understanding human psychology in the pursuit of power. However, it also warns of the dangers of being too self-centered and the need to balance self-interest with empathy and consideration for others.
If you're enjoying this video so far, please support us by hitting the subscribe button and liking the video. By doing this, you are helping us reach more people to share this amazing information with. Now that that's out of the way, let's get back to the video.
Law number 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. In the land of Valoria, there was a powerful queen named Natasha. She had been ruling for many years and had amassed a great deal of wealth and influence. However, her power had made her paranoid and suspicious of everyone around her. One day, Natasha decided to put her trust to the test by inviting her most trusted advisor, a man named Julian, to a private meeting. Julian had served the queen for many years and had always been loyal to her. However, Natasha had begun to doubt his intentions and wanted to ensure that he was truly on her side. During the meeting, Natasha posed as a friend to Julian, expressing her admiration for his intelligence and loyalty. She then revealed that she had heard rumors of a plot to overthrow her and that she suspected Julian might be involved. Julian was taken aback by the queen's accusations. However, he knew that the queen was paranoid and that any attempts to prove his innocence would only make matters worse. Instead, Julian decided to use the queen's suspicion to his advantage. He feigned guilt and remorse, telling the queen that he had indeed been approached by a group of rebels who had promised him great rewards if he helped them overthrow her. Natasha was pleased to hear Julian's confession. She felt that her suspicions had been confirmed and that she had been right to doubt his loyalty. She then offered Julian a deal: if he would help her catch the rebels, she would spare his life and even promote him to a higher position in her court. However, Julian only pretended to be on the queen's side while also posing as a friend to the rebels in order to gain their trust and learn their plans. He then used this knowledge to help the queen catch the rebels and secure her power. Julian was successful in catching the rebels, and Natasha rewarded him as promised. Julian had mastered the 14th law of power: pose as a friend, work as a spy. He had used deception to gain the trust of both the rebels and the queen, and had used their suspicions to his advantage. In the end, Julian became one of the most powerful advisors in the queen's court, using his intelligence and cunning to further his own ambitions. Natasha remained unaware of his true intentions, believing him to be a loyal servant to the end. The lesson to be learned from Julian's story is that power can be gained through deception and manipulation, even if it means pretending to be someone we are not. However, we must also be careful not to let our desire for power and influence cloud our judgment, as it did with Natasha. Recap law number 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. This law advises people to feign friendship and loyalty to their enemies or rivals while secretly gathering information, or plotting against them. It encourages individuals to be cunning and deceitful in their pursuit of power, using trust and friendship as a means to gain an advantage over others. This law may seem manipulative and dishonest, but it reminds us that power is often won through strategy and deception. By posing as a friend, individuals can gain access to valuable information and opportunities, making it easier to achieve their goals. However, it also warns of the dangers of becoming too consumed by deception and the need to balance loyalty with strategic thinking. In the end, this law reminds us that power is a game of strategy, and those who are willing to play it can come out on top. Law number 15. Crush your enemy totally. In the city of Alba, there was a young man named Marco who had recently inherited his family's business. Marco was ambitious and had a natural talent for business, but he lacked the connections and influence to truly succeed in the competitive world of commerce. One day, Marco attended a party hosted by a wealthy nobleman named Baron Rodriguez. The Baron was known for his lavish parties, where the most powerful and influential people in the city gathered to socialize and network. At the party, Marco noticed that many of the other guests were exchanging business cards and engaging in conversation about their respective ventures. However, Marco had no cards to offer and no noteworthy accomplishments to speak of. Feeling out of place and unsure of how to make an impression, Marco decided to turn to the 15th law of power: crush your enemy totally. He spotted a rival named Antonio, who had been undercutting his prices and stealing his customers. Without hesitation, Marco approached Antonio and engaged him in conversation. He pretended to be friendly and even offered to collaborate on a business venture. However, as they spoke, Marco subtly worked to undermine Antonio's reputation. He spread rumors about Antonio's business practices and made snide comments about his lack of success. He also made sure to be seen socializing with other influential guests, drawing attention away from Antonio and making him seem insignificant. Over the next few weeks, Marco continued to employ his tactics. He spread rumors and undermined Antonio's reputation, slowly but surely chipping away at his business and his influence. Soon, Antonio was out of business, and Marco had gained many of his former customers. Marco had used the 15th law of power to crush his enemy totally and gain the upper hand in the world of commerce. However, Marco soon learned that the 15th law of power can have unintended consequences. The other merchants in the city had seen how ruthless he could be and began to view him with suspicion and fear. They were hesitant to do business with him, fearing that they too might fall victim to his tactics. Marco had gained the upper hand, but he had also lost the trust and respect of his peers. He realized too late that the 15th law of power could only take him so far, and that true success in business required more than just ruthless ambition. the lesson to be learned from Marco's story is that power should be used with caution. While crushing your enemy may bring short-term gains, it can also have long-term consequences that may harm your reputation and relationships with others. True success requires not just ambition and strategy, but also trust, respect, and integrity. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. This law advises people to take extreme measures to destroy their enemies, leaving no chance of retaliation or revenge. It encourages individuals to be ruthless and merciless in their pursuit of power, showing no mercy or compassion towards those who stand in their way. While this law may seem harsh and cruel, it reminds us of the brutal reality of the game of power, where weakness and hesitation can lead to defeat. By crushing their enemies completely, individuals can ensure their dominance and security, protecting themselves from future threats. However, it also warns of the dangers of becoming too consumed by power and the need to balance ruthlessness with wisdom and strategic thinking. In the end, this law reminds us that power is not for the faint of heart and that sometimes, the price of success is high.
For weekly freebies and contest giveaways, make sure you follow the link in the description to Metamorphic Health Weekly, where we send out a wide range of health tips, free recipes, fitness tips, and contest giveaways. Be sure not to miss out. Click the link below for Metamorphic Health Weekly. We hope you enjoyed today's video and would gladly appreciate it if you gave us a like and hit that subscribe button to help support the channel.
This concludes this week's episode of the 48 Laws of Power. Which law did you resonate with the most? Or is there a law you disagree with? Let us know in the comments below. And remember to subscribe and turn on your notifications for next week's episode. Until then, embrace your metamorphic tenets to transform.